Bear down, Chicago. Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham, and on today's show, we're going to get you guys caught up on the latest Bears news and some rumors. And coming up, you will not believe this Bears story, and quite frankly, I don't know if I believe it. Stay tuned for that later on in the show. But let's talk about a familiar face here, familiar name, Robbie Gould. Saw this being explored on the internet. Could the Bears sign Robbie Gould? The veteran kicker set to be a free agent this offseason, turned 40 in December, but he's still rock solid. You look at what he did this year, only missed the one extra point, 27 of 32 on field goals, 2 for 2 from 50 plus. Certainly doesn't have a huge leg, but neither does Cairo Santos, to be fair, a long of 51. And look, obviously, and we're going to explore this here, Robbie Gould's a Bears legend. There's no doubt about that. He did a lot of good things here as the kicker. He's gone on to do great things in San Francisco. I think looking back on it, it was probably a mistake to move on from Robbie Gould. He kind of hit a mini slump that last season here, and that was enough for the Bears to think he was washed. I think he was 33 at the time. He's gone on to kick for another 7 seasons here. I mean, you look at what he's done since he left Chicago, 95.5% on extra points. Remember, that's since the extra point has gone back to 33 yards. Almost 88% on field goals, very good. 20 of 29 on 50 plus, very good. That's over 67%. And a long of 53. And what's crazy about Gould, too, is he has never missed from in the postseason, extra point or field goal. Perfect. Has never missed a postseason kick. Now, the Bears haven't been in the playoffs a ton since Robbie Gould left, but you think about Cody Parkey in 2018. I think Robbie Gould would have made that kick, and who knows how that changes the course of Bears history. But, Robbie Gould, obviously one of the best. Now, when you really start to think of this logically, it's like, all right, if you're actually interested in Robbie Gould at 40 years old, well, let's compare him to Cairo Santos, who's been the Bears kicker the past 3 seasons. Field goal percentage, Cairo, 90.6%. Robbie Gould, 84.6. Advantage Cairo. Extra point percentage, advantage Robbie Gould. Santos kind of hit a slump late in the year on extra points this year, so that knocked his percentages down a bit. 50 plus, 7 of 10 versus 6 of 10. Not a huge difference there. Cairo, kicking in cold, windy Chicago. I'm not going to really hold that against him. By the way, 6 of 10 for 50 plus is still pretty good. Long of 55 for Cairo, 52 for Gould. Neither has the strongest leg. They kind of max out at 55 each. And then games played very similar as well. Gould's missed a couple over the past 3 seasons. So you tell me, do you want Robbie Gould back in Chicago? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know in the comment section below, and after this YouTube ad break, I will give you my take on whether or not the Bears should bring back Robbie Gould. My take on this is, listen, I love Robbie Gould, and if they didn't, I'm not going to throw a fit, but I don't think bringing him back actually makes a ton of sense. You're talking about a 40-year-old that would have to be kicking in cold outdoor conditions a decent amount per year versus California like he does for the 49ers. Cutting Santos for him doesn't really make much sense. I get he missed a few extra points down the stretch last year, but he's been pretty rock solid here. He's only 31-32. I don't know if Santos is the long-term guy. If you want to bring him competition, you can bring in a UDFA or another kicker on the 90-man roster, but you only sign a Robbie Gould to be your for sure starting kicker, and I just don't think worrying about kicker is something you can afford to do right now. You have other needs to address, so I love Robbie Gould. He's had a hell of a run in his career. I think he'll probably kick for another couple years in the NFL. I just don't think it's going to be with the Chicago Bears. Now, BetUS is the place to go if you want to bet on Super Bowl 57. Point spread has been moving a lot already. I think it's Eagles 1-point favorites right now. Chiefs opened up 1.5-point favorites, got the Eagles -2, 2.5. Now it's back to Eagles -1. Going to be shifted a lot. So if you like where the point spread sits now, go bet on it. Prop bet should be coming out soon as well. Go to chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. That is chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN to get a 125% deposit bonus. All right, let's get to the depressing portion of the show. Did Patrick Mahomes want to be a Chicago Bear? Well, Patrick Mahomes' dad, Patrick Mahomes Sr., told 670 The Score in Chicago that his son thought that the Bears would draft him. Here's the quote from Patrick Mahomes Sr. saying they, the Chicago Bears, told him they were going to draft him. We thought he was going to be the 3rd pick overall and go to Chicago. He had a great meeting when he went there and liked all the guys that were doing the stuff there. He thought he was going to be a Bear. And then once they traded up and got Mitch Trubisky, it kind of hurt him. It really did. He always knew that Kansas City told him that they would come up and get him. They just didn't know how far they would have to go. But initially, he thought he was going to be a Chicago Bear. Now, this feels like a little blunt, a little exaggerated in the sense of like, I don't think Ryan Pace or someone on the Bears was like, hey, you're our guy, we're staying at 3 and picking you. Because if that was actually true, I think they would have done that. And it's pretty well documented that Ryan Pace liked Mitch Trubisky. Here's what we do know. Teams, scouts, GMs, when they bring in players for workouts, they tell players all the time, hey, we like you. We're going to be interested in drafting you. But I highly doubt that they made it crystal clear to Patrick Mahomes, like, hey, you're the guy at 3. If you're there, we're picking you. Unless something changed at the last minute. But by all accounts, it does not, like, I don't remember it being that way. If anything, I remember Pace not doing enough homework on Mahomes because he was so zeroed in on Mitchell Trubisky. But, look, it still hurts, right? Like, the fact that Mahomes, I do believe the part when his dad says his son wanted to be a Bear. Like, why would he make that up? So that is certainly disappointing. Now, subscribe to the channel. Bears offseason videos every single day. More thoughts on this Mahomes story in a second. But we're moving forward to this year's draft, to this year's free agency. So subscribe. Turn on your notifications. It's youtube.com/Bears Now. We are going to have you guys covered here on Chicago Bears Now for the considerable future. I have no plans of not bringing you guys videos, so hit that sub button. And obviously, look, you compare how it's worked out between Mahomes and Trubisky, it just hasn't been close, right? Mitch did some decent things in Chicago, goes to Pittsburgh this offseason after a year in Buffalo, benched pretty early for Kenny Pickett, whereas Mahomes is going to his 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. He's already won a ring. He's won an MVP. He's about to win his 2nd MVP. Here's my overall take on all this, and then we'll move on because I don't want to, add salt to the wound. It's painful enough. Ryan Pace got tunnel vision on Mitch, and he got it wrong. That's it. That's the story. I don't think there was some, like, blanket statement from the Bears where they told Mahomes he was their guy and they changed their mind at the last second. I'm sure they were interested, but Pace fell in love with Mitch. That's been pretty well documented. That's been out there for a while. And I gave Matt Nagy credit in the past because he was in charge of scouting the 2017 quarterbacks for Andy Reid when he was still on the Chiefs staff before coming to Chicago. Now he's back in Kansas City. His analysis of that year's crop, Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. Deshaun Watson's going to be a 10-plus year starter, pretty good. And Mitch Trubisky's a project. Nagy nailed those evaluations. Like, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Now, in Watson's case, you can't predict the off-the-field stuff. But had none of that happen, I mean, you're looking at a franchise quarterback for a long time, and he might still end up being that for Cleveland. So it is what it is. Pace wanted Mitch. He picked the wrong guy. It's that simple. Thanks, Ryan. Type FML in the chat. Hey, he did draft Justin Fields, and I'm pretty high on Fields, so hopefully his farewell gift was to get JF1 in Chicago. FML in the chat just because it's painful as the years go by. Okay, let's get you an update on the 2023 salary cap. The NFL has announced that the cap number will be at $224.8 million. That's up from $208.2 last year. I think about 8% there. And Bears fans are freaking out because, right now the Bears' projected cap space is like between 90 and 98 million, depending on which service you use. Brad Spielberger of PFF explained this because at one point it's projected 110, 115 million, yada, yada, yada. He explains this pretty well because he's a cap expert. He said the Bears went from around 118 million in projected cap space to 93 million because Riley Reif got $4.5 million in incentives. Six of the Bears' 2020 draft picks earned the proven performance escalator, earning raises of over $1 million. And then the Bears extended Equanimeous St. Brown and signed 8 players to future reserve deals. So while those don't add up to a ton, you add all that up, it's about a $10 or $15 million difference. The reserve contracts are kind of just placeholders, so don't put too much stock into that. And remember, the Bears will likely still get over $100 million in cap space because they have a lot of free agents or cut candidates at their disposal. That guys that could cut. We can cycle through a couple of these here. Rolly, Cody Whitehair. I know that's a picture of him snapping, but those are back in his center days. Al-Qadim Muhammad, Justin Jones, Travis Gibson. These are guys they could cut to save money. Lucas Patrick, Kendall Vildor. I don't think they'll cut Eddie Jackson, but you could save money if you did. We talked about Cairo Santos earlier. You could save a little cash if you cut him. Definitely think guys like AQM, Cody Whitehair are prime cut candidates, and just cutting those two guys gets you over $100 million in cap space. So I do think the Bears still get over $100 million. And here's the deal: they're still over $35 million more cap space than any other team. The Bears have a lot of money to work with. So don't freak out. Where did the money go? Explained really well by Spielberger, so credit to him for providing that context. Speaking of free agency, name your top free agent target. Who is it? Who is your top free agent target for the Bears? For me, it's Daron Payne, but I like Javon Hargrave. There's a lot of good guys out there. So let me know who you would like to sign in free agency. All right, that's going to do it for our news and rumors portion of Chicago Bears Now. If you want more coverage, subscribe and turn on notifications. We will continue to keep you guys up to date on the latest Bears news and rumors. I'm Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys for clicking on today's video.